I'm Katie.
And I'm Luke. And today we're making
Gumbo. I'm Katie.
And I'm Luke.
And today we're making gumbo.
Alright, so like we said, we're making gumbo. Gumbo starts off with basically the way that every Cajun dish starts off, with the Holy Trinity. You got onions, bell peppers, and celery. We're also going to throw in a few cloves of garlic. Alright, well, get to chopping. So I would start with either the celery or the bell peppers.
Okay.
Say the onions for last, that way you're not crying the whole time.
Okay. Chop off ends.
Chop off the ends. Both ends.
Slice it down the middle.
I like to slice it down the middle because I like to get really small pieces. Not too small.
That good?
But small enough to where they kind of dissolve. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just chop that up.
Two, four, all.
We're going to do 4 because we're doubling the recipe. So normally you do 1 bell pepper, 2 stalks of celery, and 1 small to medium sized onion.
But we're not doing that today.
We're not. We're making a double batch. We're going to bring this to some friends of ours.
Is it all uneven?
That's fine. Cajun cooking is, we'll call it rustic. We're not worried about everything being perfect. This is also going into a jar, and it's all going to cook down. I do like it a little smaller, that way it cooks down a lot and you're not eating chunks of vegetables.
Okay, what's next?
Alright, next we're going to cut the bell pepper. I have a trick for you for cutting it. Alright, so I will start this first one. I like to come in from the side at a pretty shallow angle. I like to cut the side like that. So your knife is going to be like this, and you're going to go all the way around the bell pepper, making sure to get off the white membrane from inside. You can kind of hold it open with 2 fingers. And there we go. Seeds are out. You can cut the membrane out. Some people like to cut it all the way out. I don't really care, but it can be bitter. So it is important to get all the membrane and seeds off. Then chop this up into a couple pieces. Chop those into what they would call bâton. And then chop those into squares.
Baton, like a baton.
Yes, like Baton Rouge.
Oh, Baton Rouge.
Red stick.
I didn't know that.
All right, there you go.
What's red stick from?
I think it was some way that they marked something. I don't know. That's your homework. Go look up what it means. Where it came from.
The red stick.
Something that had to do with how they marked the land. You sound like a Waluigi there.
Wah!
Yes. It's weird because you're opposite. Yeah, so you can kind of go in.
Oh,
Yeah.
crappers.
And you just skin it alive. Pretty cool.
Yay! I did it, kind of.
You did it. And now if you want to cut it up into 3 sections, and then you can, now that it's flat, you can go in and take the rest of the membrane and seeds off. It's easier if you start at the top
Okay.
and just
Oh,
go down it.
this time?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because then it's flat and you're not. Well, you screwed it up. Here's an easy way to do this.
Oh, okay.
What the heck? There's seeds flying everywhere now?
They're so tiny. Little seeds.
I mean, the seeds aren't going to kill you, so they're
Look at that. Did it. No membrane. This one's taller than the other one was.
Yeah, they're like the Abbott and Costello of bell peppers there. One of them was short and fat, the other one was tall and skinny. Although I think Abbott and Costello, one of them was tall and fat, and the other one was short and skinny. I don't remember. I didn't grow up in the 50s.
Bet we're going to get a comment from your parents on that one.
Yeah.
You don't know about Abbott and Costello?
Oh, let me learn you something about that. Should have mentioned before, but Cajun cooking in general and gumbo. Gumbo is a dish that's very near and dear to my heart. I grew up in Louisiana. I learned how to make dishes like gumbo from my mom. Obviously, you think that my mom's gumbo is better than my gumbo. Why is that?
There's like a depth of flavor.
Yeah.
In hers.
Yeah. So, however long you take to make it is how good it's going to be. So, if you just slap this together and you have 30 minutes, you can do it, but it's going to be better. It's going to be better if you take like 3 hours to make this and really cook it all down. I also take shortcuts that my mom wouldn't necessarily take. You want everything to be the same general size, but it is going to all cook down, so it's fine.
It's not the same size.
You can do the garlic next if you want, but the garlic is going to go in separate from all these vegetables.
Okay.
You want to see a trick to the
Smash?
garlic? Yeah.
Smash it?
Yes. You can smash it more if you want. And then, yeah, I like to cut off the bottom. Some people leave the bottom on, but it's really hard and it doesn't get soft.
Yeah.
So I always cut that off, the little butt end, the little brown butt.
So basically the same thing as those.
Basically, but I like to go through these again. I'm not worried about uniformity when it comes to the garlic. And the more you go, the more of that potent garlic flavor will come out. The more of the allicin, which is the chemical, will come out. So like crushed garlic is super strong. If you use a little garlic press, that's like super strong. And it can be bitter if you break it down too much. So I think we're going to use about 3 cloves of garlic. We're also going to use some garlic powder, but you can do as much garlic as you want.
I like the seesaw method.
A sharp knife is always safer than a dull knife because you use less force with a sharp knife. As far as cutting boards go, generally the harder the material, the faster the board is. So if you're using like a good hardwood cutting board, that would be considered a fast cutting board. Whereas like a plastic cutting board, which is softer, so your knife kind of goes in, your edge gets like caught in there and it absorbs some of the force, that would be considered a slower cutting board. I'm going to cut the top off the onion, and then we're going to leave this root end intact. We're going to cut right down the middle of it. We're going to take the peel off. So for onions, so you slice it long ways, and then you're going to come back through, put your hand flat on the onion, that way you're not chopping your fingers off. Put your hand flat on it, and then I'm making 2 cuts, so I didn't want it to fall apart. You're going to put 2 cuts in it, and then you're just going to slice through it. And there you go. There's a roughly chopped onion. Obviously, we're not going for anything fancy here.
This is not, no. This flat hand business doesn't really work.
Well, you gotta be careful not to cut your finger off. So for maximum safety, you're going flat boy.
Flat boy.
For maximum control, once you get the hang of it, just grab it.
Woo! Ah, we're burning.
Here, you gonna cut this mustache, or you want me to use that as a mustache?
Just eat it.
I have enough mustache. I don't want to eat a raw onion. Okay, we got all of our vegetables chopped.
Chopped.
Now, let's go ahead and chop up some sausage. This is andouille. This is a sort of a traditional Cajun sausage. You could use, if you can't find andouille, you could use like a smoked sausage. When we were little, we didn't eat a lot of beef and pork, so Mom used like turkey smoked sausage. So you can use that. Something smoky. Andouille is also a little spicy, so ideally if you can find something smoky and spicy, that's perfect. Normally we would just use, what is this? This is a 12-ounce package, so normally we would use 1 pack per pot of gumbo. Obviously we're doubling it, so we're going to use 2 today. Now you can cut it as big or as small as you want. I really like to have sausage in every bite, so I cut it down the middle lengthwise. cut it down the middle lengthwise, and then I just chop those into like 1/4 inch pieces. Ideally with the andouille, this brand, I like this brand. This is what I normally use when I make it for us, because this one doesn't have any like weird additives. It doesn't have like soy or MSG or anything. It's just meat and seasoning. Soy, they just use it as a filler. It's like a school cafeteria hamburger. So we're gonna use 2 meats in this. We're using sausage and chicken.
Sausage.
That's the sausage I just chopped up. And this is the chicken. What we did is we just bought, well, for this recipe we're doubling it, so we bought 2 rotisserie chickens, and I just picked all the meat off the bones. My mom used to like buy a whole chicken and boil it and then let it cool down and pick it off the bone. I like this method. It's a little cheap, but you're not going to be able to control the seasoning of it. It's just whatever seasoning, in this case, HEB, put on it. I'm trying to do more of a one-pot meal. So this is what I'm going with for this. What you could also do is you could brown off some chicken in a pan and then add it into the gumbo while it's simmering and just let it cook until it falls apart. But skinless, boneless chicken is usually what I use. You can use chicken on bones, but I don't really like it. I don't like picking bones out of it. All right, so we're gonna move on to the roux. The roux is very simple, but a little bit complicated at the same time. It's simple because it's only 2 ingredients. Oil, flour, equal parts of both. Right in, doubling this recipe, so 1 cup of oil, 1 cup of flour. Alright, so if you've ever made like a sausage gravy, you know how to make a roux, but we're going to cook it a lot more than you would for a sausage gravy. Now you don't have to sit here and baby this, but the higher the temperature that you're cooking it on, the more you're going to need to stir it and look after it. You don't want to walk away, because as soon as you walk away, it's burned. It could look like this. It could look white and raw and uncooked. You walk away for 5 seconds and it's burnt. You can let it sit for a little bit, get some color on the bottom, and then stir it again. But like I said, the higher you're cooking it on, we're cooking this on medium, the higher you're cooking it on, the more you need to look after it. Now, the color that we're going for here is the color of a Hershey's bar. We've all seen a Hershey's bar. We know what it looks like. That's the color we're going for. So, however you guys do it, if you need to buy a Hershey bar at the store and you need to put it right next to the stove, there you go. Alright, so we're about halfway there. The longer this goes, the more you want to baby it. But we're about halfway there. Alright, it's getting a little smoky because we're almost there. But keep calm, turn your vents on, whatever. Have someone stand by the smoke detector to fan it. But we're almost there. Alright, so we're there. This is why you have all your ingredients standing by. We want this nice and hot. We don't want to burn it. So now that it's there, we want to stop the cooking. So we're going to add all of our vegetables in except for the garlic right now. These are almost going to fry in here, and that's what you want. So normally you would have to cook these down for a while, but since that oil is so hot, they're going to cook up pretty quickly, and they're going to get some nice flavor on them. We're going to add in our garlic now that it's cooled off. We don't want to burn the garlic. Smell coming off of this is incredible. I'm also going to add some salt now to help the vegetables break down. I take that back. I'm going to add some Tony Chachere, a little Cajun seasoning, which is mostly salt anyway. You don't have to stir this as much as I am. I just have a lot in here, so I'm trying to make sure it all cooks evenly. Alright, so we're going to add in our andouille. Now that these vegetables are all cooked down, just pop all that in. We're going to add chicken stock. Shake it up a little bit. Get in there. I'll probably add 2.5 cartons to this. Alright, so we have everything in here except for the chicken and the bay leaves. The bay leaves I'm going to add in now, and we're going to let this simmer. The chicken we're going to add in right at the end, let it just warm through, but it looks pretty good already. I'm going to put a lid on this, and we're going to let it simmer. See you in a bit.
So the gumbo's ready. It's been cooking for like an hour.
Yep.
And it may or may not have boiled over because we didn't turn it down. But we got it cleaned up and it was all right. So now we're going to look and see what we got going on here. Everything's floating at the top. So you've got sausage and the onions and the bell peppers on top and the celery. Whenever you first look at it, it looks like very greasy.
Yeah, so it'll look greasy because, well, we put a cup of oil in here and the sausage has fat in it, but fat is flavor. So unless there's like a ridiculous amount of fat floating on top, don't worry about taking it off because you're going to mix all that in and it's just all going to taste good. That's where all the goodness is. So we'll be good. We have one last ingredient to add in, right?
Chicken?
Chicken! You want some chicken?
Oh, goodness.
And we'll get all that mixed in. And our gumbo is ready. So excited! Alright guys, well this is it. This is our finished gumbo. There is one more secret ingredient though.
Pure ground gumbo filet.
Filet. Alright, so this is where gumbo gets its nice thickness, and filet also has a little bit of flavor to it. It's ground sassafras leaves. You would think it would be super thick with the flour in there. Actually, the more you cook the flour down, so the darker you get it, the less thickening power that it has. So it's a little thin the more you cook it out. If this was like a Creole gumbo, you'd probably use okra, but we always use filet. So you sprinkle a little bit on, not too much, or else it'll become like Jell-O. I sprinkle just a little bit in the corner, just a little dab, and then mix it all in. Oh yeah, I lied, there's 2 secret ingredients. Hot sauce, this one's not really a secret. This goes in everything we eat. Only the best Crystal hot sauce made in Louisiana. Mmm! Not so hot, but so good! Thanks for watching. Keep coming back. We're gonna have more great recipes.
Yay!
Yay!